It's I'm still processing it. I think I don't think that I'll really ever fully conceive how and why those things came to be, but I'm happy they did. And it opened a lot of doors for me, and more than anything, it allowed me to the opportunity to play in front of people live, which has always been my dream, was to play in front of people. And so this album is always going to be the album that put me on the map as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what it is, man. I think black artists in Paris, black American artists in Paris have always kind of had this really special relationship with each other, kind of a kinship. So I think maybe I just fall in a long line of that, a long line of black artists that maybe normally would have a harder time in America being accepted, having a home here in Paris and in France. And so I think that's that connection and just the love of love. Man. This is the city of love. And I'm a lover of love, so I think we have that in common. Yeah, certainly. I mean, certainly my experiences here inspired me for my new record. I mean, a lot of them did. And my experiences on this new record are really based on a lot of things that happened in that year and a half that I got signed and started experiencing international fame for the first time. So yeah, it definitely had an impact. The way I processed it was I would go out on tour and I would come back and I'd have all these experiences I'd lived through. So every moment of this record is a moment I was living through a challenge or a triumph or what have you, a high and low. Like that's what happened on this record. That's why that record is so personal, is because I was really, and I didn't know it at the time, but I was like really talking and expressing how I was feeling about everything, because I didn't have really have anybody to turn to. Like it's hard when you're on an island by yourself and like trying to figure out how to navigate fame. There's no one to tell you how to do it. But it took me a while, like to figure that out. After the record was done, I was like, oh my God, like that's why I decided it was gonna be called Chronicles of the Kid, was because I was like, you know, I didn't even know it, but you're talking about what's happening to you in real time right now on this record. So that's why it's so special. I try to step away when I can. I do music so often that it gets really hard to function sometimes. So I try to step away to keep my ears fresh and just keep fresh ideas flowing, because you can't keep hammering down on something to try to see if it'll work. You got to give it time, let it grow. All these songs are little babies. You gotta mature them and grow them up before you're ready to put them out. We inherit the sins of our parents, unfortunately. And my parents, for all intents and purposes, did the best they could. But, I had to carry the burden of their pain, even though that wasn't mine to bear. And instead of it like taking me down, let it crumble, I became what I am today. So in turn, I helped heal that generational trauma. Instead of passing it on to my kids, I did something different for my whole family and for generations to come. So became a beacon and inspiration for them. So that's really what it's about. I talk about washing my sins on down the river. For the life I didn't choose, and I beg for forgiveness someday. You can't really beg for forgiveness or be forgiven for sins that really weren't yours in the first place. You can only take them on and change them into something else. So that's what it's about, man. It's about taking that and flipping it. It's like that old American story. It's like, you got the cards you're dealt, but turn it into something golden, man. Go win. Sure. I mean, at parts of it are therapy. I think the more therapeutic part for me would be the fans themselves and how they receive it. How therapeutic it is for them. That's therapy for me. Knowing that I'm helping to heal the wounds of people. Outside of myself, I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm okay with myself, and I'm okay with the things that have happened. I'm doing well for myself. I got no problems really, but I want people that do have those issues, that are struggling, I want that to mean something for them. Living for the fall, yeah. I mean, that's about the sacrifice artists make for the people they write music for, and the sacrifice that you make for your family and your friends and all that, you no longer become yourself anymore. You become somebody else's. I belong to the public now. I belong to this whole other world, and while still seeking self-preservation. So really, if you listen to the lyrics of that song, and it says, "Standing on the stars, falling for you, no gravity has control." It's a soul falling from the heavens, because it's a rebirth. I'm no longer the man I used to be. I'm reborn as the rock star for the people. Yeah, well, we that song we've been playing it live, and it was receiving such a great response. We just knew we had to put it on the record, but also it was just an appropriate time for it. It's like that song is the redemption for the rest of this record. It's like on from the high highs to the low lows, like all I ever have is the 2 feet I stand on, and the world can break me down. I can be on top of the world, I can do whatever, but I'm always gonna be standing on these 2 feet because as long as I'm standing on my 2 feet, I still have myself. Yeah, well, I would say in the beginning, like, we didn't really know what it was gonna sound like. I think the reason that came out like this such a big arena rock thing was that's what I was doing. I was playing these big shows, and it's like if you want to see yourself in the future, where are you gonna put yourself? It's like if it's your hope and dream to be playing stadiums and arenas someday, you better sound like it, And so I think that was the thought process between my producers and I was that like they wanted to make sure that this music was going to be where it should be properly be played, and that almost like a manifest destiny that eventually that would take me there too on the stage and in front of these massive audiences. I'm always been known for being a person that plays raw, classic American rock and roll, but like there's a whole generation out there of people that really want to connect with rock and roll, but they don't quite understand it enough to do so. And so you gotta speak their language. So like that was my way of speaking the language of the younger generation and letting them know that they're not forgotten in this culture, in this American culture of rock, And so I also want to bring people into the music that maybe didn't listen to rock. Like if you're not a big rock fan, you could pop that on for almost anybody and they would love it. I'm not disappointed in my country right now. No, I love my country, and I think that's what that song really is about. It's like if you listen closely, it's like despite all these terrible things that we do to each other, and despite like how this country is, and these are observations, man. It's not how I just feel about my country, but I observe that like things aren't great. Kids get shot in schools, like that happens for us. And like bad things happen to people of color. That happens to all people. Police beat up people sometimes. Like these things all happen. With that all being said, despite all the politics that go on, like I still love my country and would give my life for my country. I would die for my country. And I think that's like truly the definition of patriotism. Is when even though things are flawed, I would give my life for the person I disagree with, just to make sure he lives free. And that's what my America really is about. It's like that's the American dream, is that we're able to like agree to disagree, and still stand with and for each other. We're divided, sure, we have problems, but like there's a lot of love out there between us. I don't know if that was more of a label idea. I think than anything they thought of the quotation marks. I was like, okay, sure, quotations. But for me, I think that I think Filthy is just we played it pretty safe with the music video, because what I wanted to do was a lot more sexual in nature than that, and it's because like Filthy was for the sex worker. Filthy was for the stripper trying to make ends meet, and the hustler who sells drugs in the corner, who doesn't fit in, and the outcast at school who might be a bit of a nerd, but like that's who the song was for. You know what I'm saying? So I think Filthy in quotations really means it's like that means cool where I come from. But like it's more than that, man. It's more than that. It's about identifying with yourself without apologizing. I'm sitting here tired, like barely awake in front of you right now. That's how, like, because I don't know. I really don't know, man. I just knew that I had to get it done, and I knew it had to be done because I knew as soon as this record cycle was finished, I was gonna need to put another record out, and I needed to, because that's just the way of the world we live in right now. It could be rapid fire. And I did it in between touring. Like, I'd go home for a little bit and then go to Nashville and record, and I'd come off a tour or go back on tour and do it over a year's time span. Man, that's how we did it. I just stretched myself out as far as I could go. She did, and they all flew out to come see me, and well, she didn't answer the phone so much, but I remember she was the one that made sure all the kids and everybody got out there, and that was a big deal, man. She was the one that she holds me down. Like this is not easy, especially for the wives of people that are married to people like me. There's things that they're gonna have to put up with and deal with that other women who are married to, say, average people will never have to deal with, in their lives. Never. And so that strength is so important, you know, especially when you're doing this career, because it's hard, man. You're by yourself all the time. It's lonely out there, man, and there's temptations and there's shortcomings, there's all sorts of stuff. You know, you have to have like a really good people behind you. So my wife is vitally important to my health and well-being because she keeps my feet on solid ground, you know, no matter what happens to me. And she has to be stronger than anybody I know because I don't know how, you know, sometimes I don't even know how she does it. You know, she's taking care of 3 kids and her husband's out there being a rock star, you know, and that's tough. That can be really hard because there's not always, you know, people think it's always this life of like happiness and it's glitz and glamour. You guys must be so happy. But sometimes we're just downright miserable because it's hard, you know, but we're so solid together and we're so good together, you know, that it makes it all worth it.